Okay, we're going live here. We will share the screen. As usual, we'll do our disclaimer. Um, the PAR rosters that we produce are not for money wagering or any form of gambling. They're here to show how to do statistical analysis. Um, on this channel, we teach website design, content creation for YouTube, side hustles, domain research, and web content, and a bunch of other things. Uh, the content is for learning and for friendly competition. Use responsibly. Um, that's our disclaimer. Um, what we produce are what we call our Pro Analytical Roster, our PAR roster. Um, is basically pointing out that many of the websites used for statistically ranking players in golf events and other events are incorrect. In particular, the DraftKings lineup for golfers in various events, we go into in-depth analysis of how, statistically speaking, we can do a better job. Um, might give you a little background here about statistics and how I became interested at a very young age in college. I took some psychology classes, which is psychology definition is the scientific study of human behavior. Uh, in that study, oftentimes they use statistical analysis to measure different things to prove scientifically that human behavior can be analyzed. So, in particular, we did an experiment to see human reaction time to sound versus light. There was an apparatus that we used basically that produced a light and produced a sound. And subjects were asked to test and push a button and to see reaction times. The great conclusion and all the scientific evidence for this machine is that people can react faster to light versus sound. Um, I noticed something, a very unique flaw in the machine, the apparatus that they were using. Uh, back then, things were sort of analog kind of contraptions, and the light emitted basically used a relay. So when the light was shown, it produced a clicking sound from the relay. So basically, you had a clicking sound versus a buzzer sound as it was confounding the experimental results. And that's kind of what we do here. We look at statistical analysis and we say, hey, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. And especially with DraftKings, their salaries are all out of whack. So basically, what we use and what our statistical analysis is strictly golf related. As you can see, um, the cut making probability is extremely important in rating how well golfers do because if they don't make the cut, they don't finish the round and they don't finish high up. So that's one of the most important things. First off, is the cut making probability. We assign each individual statistical item in hierarchical form until we get the formula. So our formula involves their top 10 finish rate, the last 10 events that they've. Um, we find that the most recent events, especially with the young players, are important because they haven't had a history of playing a lot of golf. So there are many young players on the scene that we have to take that into account for. Bogey avoidance, if they're making a lot of pars and eagles, then that comes into the effect. It's measured. All these statistical measurements are available out on the web. We use robotic process automation to scrape the web and pull this information back into our formula. We use some artificial intelligence to do all the statistical analysis on all of this and put together the formula. And basically, the course, the weather, the driving accuracy, greens and regulation, eagles, all these things are considered. We even go as far as to look at social media and different aspects. We're going to do a video pretty soon on one that I recently found that I think is very, very significant. It actually involves fan participation and what the fans research on the internet. Because if you're really an enthusiast, then you will go to certain websites, you will research certain players, uh, and believe it or not, those highly researched players are often the ones that are highly productive. So, and sometimes you'll find outliers and different things that become statistically significant. Um, so, beyond the scope of that, let's go ahead and we'll review our latest uh, Rocket Classic. Uh, we put this roster up on our website, which we can go ahead and point that out. Um, Here's the home, twager.com. This is where we produce the spreadsheets. We upload them. As you can see, the Rocket PAR roster, which is a pro analytical roster. You click a button, basically it brings up a download. Over here, you click on the download and you get the spreadsheet free. So everything we do is free. We're here to help you. We're here to teach you things about statistical analysis. We're here for you to learn and to realize that sometimes what these big companies do is they use a lot of name recognition. They rely on fans who do not are not eloquent in their research as far as statistics and so forth. So, and that's how they produce income and so forth. We're at the stage where we think statistical analysis is important, and it proves basically that anyone can do this. You can produce a website. This website is produced using we use WordPress. Um, we go into how to build a website and different things on our channel, but as for right now, we are reviewing our latest and greatest roster, and we wanted to see how well we did. Um, Over here in the B column is the salary produced by DraftKings, and the C column is the average points, which is the fantasy points average that each player produces. We use some composite scores and different mathematical to come up with our. In here in the yellow, you'll see our pro analytical score, and basically the minus scores are good, the positive scores are bad. Usually the range is somewhere from 10 to negative 10. Uh, we did have a negative 11 this time, which we thought this was one of our misses. We do miss one or two occasionally, but overall, if you look at how well we predicted the outcomes, Xander Schauffele being a minus 4.39, he finished second. We had this marked in green. This was done before the tournament ever started. You had this roster in your hand so that you could look at it. Basically, we mark players in blue that we think are good. We mark players in green that we think are really good. We did miss Ben Griffin. However, if you look at the overall roster, how well we did, we had some excellent picks. We did point out the winner of the tournament down here, and we did mark that in blue. Blue is good, green is great. Uh, Brooks Koepka here withdrew before the tournament ever started, so we figure he would have done really well in the tournament. However, he did not play, so that kind of gets negated. We picked this layer of players here who all finished very well. There's a tied for eighth. Davis Thompson we had marked. So, and then some players that got cut, we didn't. Here's a miss. It's a slight miss. We had a minus 0.11 for Denny McCarthy. We thought he'd make the cut. So as you go down through the list, there are some, especially in the bottom half of the list, that are we oftentimes will not mark very many players, very few that will mark. If we see something of note, typically we'll try to mark it. Way down here in number 73, Chris Ventura finished 5. We had him at a minus 6.5, and you can see he's just all by himself there. This is one that we usually take note of. Hey, this is a guy. Here's a minus 0.39. We didn't mark Hogard. He was, obviously at a minus 0.39. Some of these other ones were decent. We didn't mark, but uh, we try to highlight the ones that we find are especially significant. Here's another minus 11.3. Cameron Davis, we thought would do well. So we did miss 2 there that were significant misses, but we also came up with a lot of players that top 20 player with a $6,500 salary, according to DraftKings. We said, no, that's wrong. DraftKings has it wrong. We proved it with our statistical analysis that we pulled in, and we ran our formula. So this is what it's all about. We produce statistical analysis. We're here to show that oftentimes what is posted out on the various websites is incorrect, and that we have a better view uh, with our own statistics. So we'll be pushing out to our free page on twager.com. As you can see, when you log in, there'll be the Rocket Classic. The 3M was the previous tournament. We'll keep the Rocket Classic. We'll move it down. And that replace it will be the next golf tournament in order of when we get the roster ready. We'll upload it. We'll do a video. We'll say, hey, it's here. Look at it. We'll point out any statistical anomalies that possibly could differ from what the salary that DraftKings has available. Uh, and like I said, once again, with our disclaimer, it's for research purposes. It's for statistical analysis. It's not to be used in any harmful manner, such as gambling and so forth. These rosters are very highly statistical significant, but statistics, as we pointed out early in the video, sometimes what we think we're measuring, we're not measuring, as in the apparatus that measured sound and light. It was actually measuring sound and sound because the little light clicked every time that someone initiated it. So you basically had a click or a buzz. Now, whether or not you respond quicker to a buzz versus a click, um, we'd have to redo the entire psychology handbook of everyone ever written, because basically we proved that the apparatus they were using was incorrect. So we don't want to be that. We want you to follow our disclaimer. We want you to have fun, to learn, and we're going to cut the video here, but we appreciate like and subscribe. We'll definitely get you some good information. We'll teach you how to do side hustles. We'll do a lot of things here for you. So uh, stick with us, and we will show you. Thank you.